US and Russian representatives are gathering in Saudi Arabia's Riyadh on Tuesday to figure out a deal to end the Ukraine conflict. Europe has been left out of the talks and is trying to chart the way forward, with several leaders holding an emergency meeting in Paris. Ukraine too has made it clear that it doesn't recognize any talks which are held in its absence about its own fate. But the US is pressing on, driven by its President Donald Trump's zeal to cut a deal. Saeed Afsarul Hassan reports.
Amidst the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, the rift between the European Union and the United States has grown increasingly evident. European leaders have gathered at the Élysée Palace in France in response to a call from the French President Emmanuel Macron on Ukraine's fate. But 3,000 kilometers away, Russia and US officials are meeting in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday to chalk out a strategy for potential talks between President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Riyadh on Monday after Trump hinted at talks with Putin. Rubio met with Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan ahead of the discussions with Russian representatives, which are focused on ending the Ukraine war.
With no time set, but it could be very soon.
Like this month?
Well, it'll be soon. We'll see what happens. But they're meeting right now, and that's more. I mean, this should have been done 4 years ago, 3 years ago, before it started, but it should have been done immediately after it started, as opposed to now, 3 years later.
Russia confirmed that the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will engage in talks with the top US officials, including Secretary of State Rubio, on Tuesday. These discussions will center on ending the war in Ukraine and restoring the full scope of Russia-US relations.
First of all, the contacts that will take place on Tuesday will be about the restoration of the entire set of Russian-American relations and the preparation of possible negotiation on Ukraine. That is all I can say. So let's wait. As for Kirill Dmitriev, no comment here. I said that Lavrov and Usakov are flying out on behalf of the president.
The Europeans are worried about being left out of negotiations for peace in Ukraine, and the gathering in Paris has been summoned to chart out the way forward. But even within the European Union, there are growing differences in how to handle the US and how to handle the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the implications it has for its transatlantic allies.
We have to make sure that Europe overcomes the challenges of the future in a strong and sovereign manner and with its back straight. This involves the question of how we can continue to support Ukraine and ensure that it is not left alone now.
We welcome the restart of the high-level talks between Russia and the United States. We acknowledged with joy and calm that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin talked for a long time.
Poland will support Ukraine as it has done so far, organizationally in accordance with our financial capabilities. In terms of humanitarian and military aid, we do not anticipate sending Polish soldiers to Ukraine.
On Monday, before flying to Riyadh, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov asked why Europe would be invited to join possible talks on a peace settlement in Ukraine if European politicians want the war to carry on.
The European philosophy has not gone anywhere, so I don't know what they can do at the negotiation table. If they continue scheming some tricky ideas on freezing the conflict while themselves, per usual, as they like and usually do, just mean continue the war. Why invite them there?
Ukrainian President Zelensky has rejected the idea of talks in Riyadh. He emphasized that the Ukraine should be part of any discussions about its own future.
Ukraine will not take part in the talks in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine did not know anything about it. Ukraine regards any negotiations on Ukraine without Ukraine as ones that have no result, and we cannot recognize any agreements about us without us, and will not recognize such agreements.
The eyes of the international community are fixed on Riyadh, as the outcome of this meeting could alter the course of history and reshape global power dynamics for years to come. Saeed Afsarul Hassan for DD India.